Hey everyone, Abhishek here. Today we're going to talk about reservation. I know there's a lot of talk about reservation these days. I hear a lot of people talk about the futility of reservation, that it's not necessary, that it is something that is impacting merit in our society. It is my personal belief that reservation is indeed essential. And I'll tell you as we proceed in the video why I think so. And I would also like to discuss the recent the recent news that came out that the Supreme Court has decided to re-examine whether the 50% quota in jobs that was set in the Indra Sawhney judgment by the Supreme Court itself, whether that 50% quota needs to be revisited, whether that needs to be extended. So there's a lot of debate around that as well. But first, let's talk about reservation as an issue. Why do we need reservation, first of all? The common argument that people have against reservation is that it prioritizes the caste or the category, the social category to which people belong over priority. But it's a flawed argument, and I'll tell you why. First of all, we need to understand, why do we have reservation in place? Why is it that the government has a policy of reservation? What is the historical background of reservation? Let me just quickly tell you what my point of view is. First of all, reservation is there to create a social parity. Remember, not all of us are coming from equal social backgrounds, right? And therefore, you need to create a level playing field when it comes to jobs. I'll give you a very simple example. Think about a student who is coming from a reputed private English medium school from Delhi, and compare it with somebody who's coming from rural Uttar Pradesh, maybe, or a small remote village in West Bengal, maybe. Now, both of them have not been exposed to the same atmosphere. Both of them do not have access to the same amount of resources and study materials. And remember, both of them do not have similar exposures in life. What that student in New Delhi would have experienced as a student is completely different than what that particular kid coming from rural Uttar Pradesh or West Bengal would have experienced as a kid. But remember, they are competing for the same job. So you need to create a level playing field, right? So that they can be, so that they can compete equally for the same job. Now, how do you create a level playing field? Because these two are very different individuals. One who has studied in a private English medium school in Delhi and therefore has a far more exposure, has a far greater exposure than what that particular student from Uttar Pradesh has. But you need to create a level playing field. And this is where reservation comes in. So reservation is there so that we can create a level playing field and provide equal opportunity to everyone for the same job here. Plus, we also need to understand the historical background of why do we have reservations in place. Do not forget that historically our society has been a very unequal society, right? We're not, as a nation, as a country, we're not known for too much, we're not known for equality, right? Historically, there are castes and communities who have been discriminated against. There are castes and communities who have not been allowed positions of power in our country. And even currently, even in the current days, if you look at the positions of power and the caste of people who are in those positions of power, you would realize that there is not much representation for those who are backward, those who belong to the Dalit, the SC/ST community, those who are coming from the OBC or the other backward classes. Now, from the 1990s, when the Mandal Commission report was implemented by Prime Minister VP Singh, since then a lot of change has happened. So we cannot argue that there hasn't been any social mobility. In fact, there has been significant mobility. A lot of castes, including Dalits, for instance, have witnessed progress. Now, we can debate on the merits of this progress, whether it has been good for them, whether it has reached each and every person in the social ladder. But one thing that we cannot deny is that reservation has helped a lot of socially backward communities to come to positions of power, to exercise their, to witness social and economic mobility. And overall, that has been the reason why our country has progressed. Now, remember, I do not understand, why do we keep cursing reservation when reservation is not the problem? All this while we have been asking the wrong question. It is not whether reservation should continue and for how long. In fact, even a recent Supreme Court judge also asked the same question, that how long, until how many generations will reservations continue? But it is my considered opinion that this is the wrong question. This is not the question we should be asking when the problem is somewhere else. And I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is the lack of jobs. You see, what is happening currently is that you see even socially dominant communities, take Marathas from Maharashtra, the Patidars in Gujarat, the Jats in Haryana, all of these communities are also vying for a share of the reservation pie. Now, take a step back and ask yourself, why are these communities who are not socially backward, who are in fact socially dominant communities, why do they want reservation? The answer is very simple. You do not have enough jobs in this country. And therefore, it is this flawed perception that reservations will help us get jobs, which is a completely flawed perception, because it is not the reservations that will help you get jobs. Because if the job pie doesn't increase, okay, if jobs do not increase, then increasing the reservation pie makes no meaning either. So instead of cursing reservation, and instead of saying that, look, it is because of reservations that we are being denied jobs, this is what the general category students often argue. You should be asking the government, why is it that we're not creating enough jobs in the market, right? So since there are no enough jobs, people believe that, okay, we will get ourselves in the reservation category, and then jobs will keep coming to us, but that is not going to happen until and unless jobs are created at a large scale, unless you witness private investment in the country, which, by the way, since 2014 hasn't taken off despite so many promises of making India great again. Private investment has eluded India, and it's not coming anytime soon. So jobs are not being created, unemployment is at a record high, and of the few jobs that are created, there are hundreds and hundreds of participants to lay claim on those jobs. So the fact of the matter is that each year lakhs of graduates are coming into the market. Now, these are graduates with skills who would want certain and some kind of employment, but you're not creating enough jobs to, to you're not creating enough jobs to help them make their livelihood. Now, remember, for the politician, it's very easy, to appeal, to accept these, appeals for reservation, because it is the convenient thing to do. Because the harder thing to do is to create enough opportunities both at the education and job level. Ultimately, what is the alternative to reservation? Or, to be honest, why do we need reservation? We need reservation because the educational opportunities are not equal for everyone, right? The kind of opportunities that a Dalit student has, or a student from the OBC community has, are very, meager compared to what a person from a higher caste has, right? And the solution, therefore, lies in providing quality education, that's number one, and in providing quality jobs at a massive scale. And both of these things are not happening, right? So, no government has invested in education. Yes, there is the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi, which has worked significantly, but that's the only exception. Other than the Aam Aadmi Party, no party literally wants to focus on education. Nobody, right? There may be some tall promises here and there, but nothing has happened as far as education is concerned. Now, unless you create equal opportunities in terms of education, you will have this disparity where certain people have a certain category of exposure, have a certain level of access to resources, and therefore are better placed to grab the jobs that are in the market. And you will also have students who, for lack of resources, for the backwardness, for the lack of opportunities, will not be able to match up to students on the other side. So naturally, there will be a vying for reservation, a desire for reservation, that we also need reservation. So to answer what the Supreme Court was asking, that how long will reservations continue, the answer is, as long as politicians do not do their jobs responsibly. The moment politicians start doing their jobs responsibly, that is, creating enough educational, creating enough opportunities in terms of quality education for everyone, creating jobs at a large scale, this question will not go away. So as students, we shouldn't be questioning why is reservation in place, or why do we need reservation. Instead, we should be asking, when will we get jobs in this country? When will a political party prioritize job creation in this country? Because unless that happens, the reservation pie will keep growing larger. And now that the Supreme Court is willing to re-examine whether to extend the 50% quota, this reservation pie is only going to increase, right? As opportunities shrink and the number of claimants of these opportunities increase, every community is going to fight with each other, to get enlisted as a backward class and get a pie of the reservation. But that is not going to help us. Only massive job creation will help us. So there's no method in madness in increasing the reservation pie if you do not back it up with enough jobs in the market. Unless that happens, we'll have this frivolous debate over reservation, whereas the crux of the issue, job creation, will get lost somewhere.